Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dreamy English Stories. In this video, you will practice your English listening skills through a calm and thoughtful story. This story is designed to help you improve listening comprehension practice, the shadowing technique, learn natural English through a meaningful situation. Listen carefully. Pause when you need. Repeat each sentence out loud. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. I didn't try to be brave. I remember the moment clearly, not because it was loud or dramatic, but because it was quiet. Too quiet. Everyone expected me to be brave. They didn't say it directly. They didn't have to. I could feel it in the silence, in the way they looked at me, in what they didn't say. Bravery felt like the obvious answer. It usually does. I stood there for a moment and noticed how my body reacted. My shoulders felt tense. My breathing was shallow. My hands were cold. These were small signs, but they mattered. I had learned something over time. When my body speaks quietly, I need to listen carefully. The situation wasn't dangerous, at least not in an obvious way. But it wasn't safe either. It was uncertain. Someone said, "It's not that hard." Another person smiled and added, "You can do it." They meant well, but their words created pressure. Pressure can sound like encouragement, but it feels very different. Encouragement feels light. Pressure feels heavy. I noticed the difference immediately. The weight in my chest grew, not from fear, but from expectation. I asked myself a simple question. Why do I want to do this? The answer surprised me. I didn't want to do it because it felt right. I wanted to do it because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. That realization slowed me down. A lot. Bravery suddenly felt unclear. Was it brave to push myself into something uncertain? Or was it brave to admit I wasn't ready? I looked around again. Nothing had changed. The environment was the same. The situation was the same. Only my awareness had changed. I realized something important. Being brave is often praised, but being careful is rarely noticed. Carefulness doesn't look impressive. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't feel heroic, but it protects you. I took a slow breath. In, out. I let the silence grow. I didn't rush to fill it with words. Someone shifted their weight. Someone looked away. The moment stretched. I felt the urge to act, not because I wanted to, but because waiting felt uncomfortable. Discomfort is dangerous, not because it hurts, but because it pushes people to make fast decisions. I remembered that. So I waited. I checked in with myself again. My thoughts were clear, but my body still felt tense. That was my answer. I didn't need courage. I needed honesty. "I don't think this is right for me," I said quietly. My voice was steady. That surprised me. No one reacted immediately. The silence returned, but this time it felt different, lighter. I felt relief before I felt doubt. That told me everything. Someone nodded, someone else shrugged. The pressure faded quickly. Nothing bad happened. No one was angry. No one argued. The fear I imagined never arrived. I stood there for a moment longer, just noticing how my body felt now. My breathing slowed, my shoulders relaxed. Warmth returned to my hands. That physical response mattered. It confirmed my choice. I realized something else. I didn't feel proud, but I felt calm. Calm felt better than pride. Bravery often asks for action. Calm asks for awareness. That moment taught me something important. Sometimes the strongest choice is not the loudest one. Sometimes saying no is not weakness. It is clarity. I didn't try to be brave. I tried to be honest. And for the first time in a long while, that felt enough. After that moment, Things became quiet again. Not awkward, not tense, just quiet. I stepped away slowly, not to escape, but to give myself space. Space to think, space to breathe. I noticed how different my body felt now. My chest felt open. My breathing was steady. My thoughts were clear. That contrast was impossible to ignore. I realized how often people confuse bravery with ignoring discomfort, as if fear should be pushed aside, not understood. But fear carries information. Not all fear means danger, but all fear deserves attention. I walked for a while without thinking about where I was going. My steps were slow, intentional. I thought about how often I had said yes when I meant no. Not because I wanted to, but because it felt easier than explaining myself. Those moments stayed with me. They left a quiet weight. Not regret exactly. Something softer. Today felt different. Today, I chose clarity over approval. I remembered a phrase I once heard. Bravery is doing what feels right, not what looks impressive. At the time, I didn't understand it fully. Now I did. I sat down and allowed myself to rest. Not because I was tired, but because I was present. I noticed how calm made everything slower. Time felt wider. Thoughts had room to move. No one was asking anything of me. No one needed an explanation. That felt freeing. I realized something else. People often respect calm decisions more than brave performances. They may not say it, but they feel it. I thought about the word strong. Strength is usually described as pushing forward, but strength can also mean stopping. Stopping to listen, stopping to feel, stopping to decide carefully. I didn't lose anything by not being brave. I gained trust. Trust in my judgment. Trust in my limits. Limits are not weaknesses. They are boundaries. And boundaries protect clarity. Later, when I looked back on that moment, it felt smaller than I expected. Not dramatic, not life-changing, just honest. But honesty accumulates. One honest decision leads to another. I understood then that bravery is optional, but awareness is essential. I didn't need to prove anything. I didn't need to impress anyone. I just needed to stay aligned with myself. That alignment felt steady, reliable. I noticed how my confidence grew quietly, not from praise, not from recognition, but from consistency. Calm decisions create calm lives, not perfect ones, but balanced ones. I knew there would be moments when bravery would be necessary, moments when action mattered, but this wasn't one of them, and recognizing that was the real skill. I stood up again and continued my day. Nothing looked different, but I felt different. I felt grounded, not fearless, not bold, just grounded. I realized that bravery often looks outward, but calm looks inward, and sometimes looking inward is the bravest thing you can do. Final reflection. You don't always need courage. Sometimes you need clarity. Bravery is loud, calm is quiet, and quiet choices can change everything. Outro. Listening practice in CTA. Now listen to the story again. Pause after each sentence and repeat it out loud using the shadowing technique. This will help you improve English listening skills, speak more naturally, feel more confident with real English. Tell me in the comments, have you ever chosen calm instead of bravery? If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to Dreamy English Stories for more calm and meaningful English listening practice. Thank you for listening. See you in the next story.